Hi traders, and welcome to Trading Talk episode 76. My name's Matt and I'm one of the traders here at TradeView. In this episode I've been able to take one of the 6 key indicators that we use here at TradeView and we share to all of our intermediate members. What I've been able to do with that indicator is been able to come up with an idea as to how to use it inside a working automated trading system. So this is a trend trading system which I've built and developed as a full model, but in this episode I show my traders how to actually come up with the idea, how to define it, and how to build it as an entrance. And then we go ahead and test it and we show some results inside EA Analyzer. Also want to touch on the Algo Trading Conference. We're under 2 months from that now. We've got some news over from Ohio in America from Kevin Davey. It looks likely he's going to be sharing up to 3 models now at the Algo Trading Conference, which is super cool. Anyone that knows Kevin will really appreciate his work, and I'm sure he's going to be able to provide a great presentation on how he's been able to actually come up with the idea, much like I've done in this Trading Talk episode, and then he's been able to share up to 3 models at the Algo Trading Conference. So anyone that isn't coming, don't miss out, because it's going to be a huge and an absolute killer of an event. The International Trading Competition, we're in the final sprint now, so that wraps up in the end of November. So just 2.5 months now, or just under 2 months now until the end of November. This year is absolutely flying. Anyway, with regarding that competition, the leaderboard is still wide open. Anyone could win it, seriously, even if you're not involved now. Why not? Get yourself involved. If you have a look at the leaderboard, there's some genuine money on the table for people that can get themselves to the top prize, up to 25k in prizes. You can actually win yourself a ticket to the aforementioned Algo Trading Conference, as well as a live IC Markets account valued at $10,000. And that's all for this afternoon's Trading Talk episode. I look forward to working with you all. Anyone who isn't already a member, obviously this video is catered towards the intermediate training and how to use ideas from that workshop and build them inside EA Lab, which is our tool. So if you're not already a member, I look forward to working with you all, and I'm sure I'm going to hear from you all soon. Thanks so much, and bye for now.
Hi traders, and welcome to Trading Talk episode 75. Before I do begin with this presentation, I must stress that this presentation, like always, is provided for information purposes only, and therefore should be not regarded as financial product advice. Alright, so you've got myself again, Matt, one of the junior traders here on the desk, spoken to most people by now, and I always love to hear from you guys. So in this episode, what I'm going to be able to do is actually show you how to generate an idea. And this idea itself is a system which I've designed, I've built and developed into a full model. I'm going to share with you the entrance to this model and how I even came up with it. And it's really cool because it relates to the intermediate workshop content, which you guys already actually have access to. Alright, let's go into it. So there are so many different ways to generate ideas for systems, without question. I know Eddie's done webinars in the past where he's got ideas from you guys, and he's actually done it in a Mythbusters style where he'll take an idea from the internet. There's heaps of strategies. I'm sure everyone's done research by now all over the internet, but what I want to show you today is an example of how you can generate an idea from the intermediate workshop content, which you guys already have access to, you've obviously already acquired, and therefore you can take full advantage of it. Because I often get asked, how can I come up with an idea for a trend system? How do I come up with an idea for a reversal system? And some people don't actually realize that you're actually sitting on some golden ideas inside the content you've already got access to, and maybe just haven't realized it. Which is no stress, because what I want to do today is show you how I used an idea from the intermediate workshop and how I've designed it and built it into a full model. What I'm going to share today though is just the entrance to then allow you guys to build on it and improve on it. So the pages that are going to be of relevance to us, and you guys can definitely go over it and read it again, is page 26 to 30 of Unit 6, which is Technical Analysis. So it's a really interesting one, this unit, because technical analysis and the 6 indicators that we use in this video and in the content, I'm sure most people have heard of them indicators. CCI, stochastics, RSI, Ichimoku. Most people have heard of them. They're quite common. But it's not the technical indicators that are used. It's the techniques used. And I must admit I've stolen that one off the boss here, Rob. but I want to be able to show you is how to use a technique and how to use an idea, and then how you can potentially look to improve on that. Alright, I've took a snip from the exact page where I've come up with this idea and where I've now built it into a system. So this system is a trend trading system, or it's the start of a trend trading system, and I'm going to show you the entrance for it. Now, the strategy, essentially what we're going to be able to do is, if we can see here, and we'll go over it. Firstly, when prices are above the cloud, then prices are trending up. That is a general rule of thumb, because the Ichimoku cloud is a leading indicator, ladies and gentlemen. Now, another way which we can potentially generate a buy signal and we are going into an uptrend is when the T line, which is the Tenkan-sen, crosses the K line up. This is a buy signal. You can clearly see this is something which we've already provided to you. Okay, and now in this regards, we want to make sure, and we can see here, if it occurs within the cloud, if the cross up is below the cloud, then this is a weak signal. If it occurs within the cloud, then this is a strong signal, and if it occurs on the upper side of the cloud, this is a strong signal. So what I want to be able to take advantage of here is not just when it's above the cloud, not just when it happens in the cloud, and not just that when it happens below the cloud. I want to try and look for a way where I can incorporate all them into one, and then maybe we can think, oh well, I'm getting stronger signals below the cloud, because we can see here the crosses of the T and the K below the cloud should not be ignored, far from it, as these are likely to be the first signals of a turn. So if we think about that, I'm going to lead on to my next slide in a quick second as to what I've been able to incorporate into this entrance for you. And also here, when we can see the price breaks through the cloud, this can confirm the change in a trend. So already we're thinking, well, if we get the cross of the T and the K below the cloud, and then we get a break through the cloud, this is my thought process. And then have we changed the trend, and are we moving into an uptrend? Right? And that's the first thing that I wanted to build and test, to find out if that idea had any validity. And I already know it does have validity, because Rob the Boss here has been trading for over 20 years, incredibly successfully at that, and these 6 indicators are 6 indicators that he's used throughout his trading career and had huge success. So they're certainly indicators which I want to also be able to incorporate into my own models too. So we can see here, yeah, you may be best served to wait for the close of the bar, as the cloud can act as support and resistance as well. So I'm building this model on bar because I want the bar to be closing above the cloud and not just be breaking above it, because we might get a break above and close below, and therefore the cloud has given us some resistance and we might be still in the cloud. But I want a stronger signal, which is the close of a bar. How you can then use this idea, I want to be able to explain the model, and we're going to build it together live, at least the entrance, and then I want this entry to allow you guys to think of ways to then use different trade management techniques and exits to then go ahead and add your own flavor. I've gone ahead and added my own flavor, and I've used a few different techniques, and I'm literally up to version 15 of this model right now, and I've pretty much finalized it, and it's been running for myself on a demo account. So I want to give you the idea, and then I want you to go away, have a look at the previous Trading Talk episodes, because there's already many excellent ways to manage trades. Eddie just did the last one, I believe it was episode 75, where he showed a way to exit based on fixed dollar P&L. Bishop showed a great way in his trend following system of a way to trail the stop. There's trailing stop videos. There's ways to close off both the winner and loser together. There's ways to build into position, to pyramid. There's so many different ways to manage trades, and obviously you've just got to apply your logic and your thinking to be able to establish what is the best way to manage this kind of model. In this example today, all I've done, because I just want to show the entry, is set a fixed point take profit and P&L to show that the entrance works, and the model has potential to develop further. This is crucial, guys. I hear and see a lot of people who try and build a model, they don't get good results on the first attempt, and then bin that model, or it doesn't work, or the data doesn't work, or automation doesn't work. That's simply just not the case. So I want to share with you a quick insight into how I look at building models, and that's by purely just coming up with the entrance, building the entrance, of course testing to make sure I'm getting that entrance correct, and then just purely just give the take profit and stop loss, set it as a variable, and just optimize it. I'm not saying that's going to be the results we choose, but with the optimization, what I'm looking to do is just find out, does this model have any potential? Does this entrance signal have any kind of potential at all? If I get negative results across the board on every time frame, on every currency, when optimization occurs on the take profit and stop loss, then this model maybe doesn't have potential, and it's just a bad idea. Chuck it in the bin. Press delete inside EA Lab. But if I can get it to show profitable results and with low drawdown on a fixed point take profit and stop loss, then that gives me a good indication that maybe with further enhancement, I can actually structure a model in a way and develop it into something which I can have different exits, different trade management criteria, and essentially just build a very, very robust model which trades across many different products and certain time frames. Alright, next slide. So I've got an example here. I hope you can all see this chart, and I've given an example here of the long side. So I've come up with rule 1. And rule 1 is that I want to check if the T line crosses the K line up, because remember the T line is the Tenkan-sen, so the T line in this example is the red line, and the K line is the blue, right? So what we're checking for is if we have a crossover. So I'm sure everyone's heard of an MA crossover. This is a T line and a K line crossover for the Ichimoku. Again, anyone that doesn't understand Ichimoku, go back to Unit 6, page 26 to 30. It covers it quite in depth, I would say. So we can clearly see here we've got the red line which is below the blue, and it's crossed above it, right? So that's rule 1, correct, yes? Alright. And then, if we get rule 2 up, what I want rule 2 to be showing is that the bar also has to be above the Ichimoku cloud. So in this scenario, it is. So we can see here when the crossover occurred, we were already above the cloud. So we had the signal, and the signal actually occurred above the cloud anyway. But because of rule 1, right, what could happen is that the blue line, the Tenkan-sen crosses the Kijun-sen up, but it occurs below the cloud. And then let's say that happens, but we are also below the cloud. I don't want to get into the trade. But what we could see, in relating back to the ideas I was just sharing in the previous slides, is this crossover could occur below the cloud. And then, because we're looking back, so we're checking if this event has occurred within the last X amount of bars. I think in this example I've used the last 10 bars, just to give us an idea. You could use more if you want, or less if you want. And that's another idea for you to then go and play with. Eddie actually shows you how to do that, how to check if a condition has occurred inside Trading Talk episode 15. And essentially what I then want to do is buy. And this is the long side rule. So we're checking if that condition has occurred within the last, let's say, 10 bars, right? And then what we also need to happen to be a valid buy signal is we need to be above the cloud. Because if you remember with the intermediate workshop, we got told that the cloud, the Ichimoku cloud, if we were above it, and if the bar closed above it, that would suggest we are going into an uptrend, or that suggests we are in an uptrend. And that's exactly what I want to be able to establish here. And the first test, again, is going to be the entrance, and that's going to be seeing if we've got the build right, and also if we've done if this idea has any potential. That's version 1, and then we can build on that. Right. Okay, this is today's EA Lab build. So I've left a screenshot up there, so then you guys can go ahead and take a screenshot of it if you like, and then what I want to be able to do is go ahead and do the actual build. So that's the screenshot, and then let's go ahead and do the build together. Okay, so we're inside EA Lab now, and we're all very, very familiar with this tool by now. And the first thing we're going to do, we need to create this look back function, this count. Eddie again shows how to do this, and it is a little bit more, I wouldn't say involved, but just involves a bit more thinking in terms of how it works inside EA Lab. So what we need to do first is we need to set the count. I'm not going to explain the full logic of this counting formulas and the whole maths behind it. I'll give a general explanation, but if you want to go over it in detail, then that's what Eddie explains quite well inside episode 15 of Trading Talk. It's called When an Event Occurs within the N bars. Okay, set count to -1. Alright, so we've set count to count -1. Okay, so that's immediately going to be at -1, right? Because this value in here is 0. Okay, and that's the first thing it's going to check. And then what I want to say is now I want to do the Ichimoku crossover. So I'm going to say if the Ichimoku, and we need to click on this little symbol here, which is the Tenkan-sen, so the T line, remember? So if the T line, we can just confirm that so we can see it, but it would always check it anyway. Shift. So if the Tenkan-sen, Shift 2. So to create a crossover occurs over 2 bars, ladies and gentlemen. So the crossover, whilst it looks on a chart like it happens exactly on that point, to reference it, you've got on Shift 2 you're below and Shift 1 you're above. Hope that makes sense. So if the Ichimoku, now we need to put in here the Kejinsen. Okay, so if the Ichimoku Tenkan-sen is less than the Ichimoku Kejinsen, Shift 2, right? And then I want to say AND, so we grab the AND block out of logic. We can just duplicate that. Okay, and then if the Tenkan-sen, all we need to change here is Shift 1, is now greater. So if the Ichimoku Tenkan-sen, so the T line is below the Kejinsen on Shift 2, and then if we're above it on Shift 1. Pretty easy. That's the crossover to the upside. And then what I want to do here is set CanTrade to true. So we're using some CanTrade variables in here. Some true or false. And then because this one is a true or false, we need to grab that. Logic to false. Oh no, sorry guys, sorry, to true, of course. So now that has occurred. And then what we need to do is go on variables, and then we need to set count. Oh no, no, that's not what we want. That's just popped us out. And then let's set this to count. Alright, that's better. So CanTrade is true, set count to, and then we need another variable, and we need to call that lookback. So this is how many bars, essentially. The number that you put in here is how many bars you're going to be checking back to see if your event has occurred. So this can be external. And I'm going to set that to 10 for today. Again, that's something that can be tested. So we could look back 5 bars, look back 20 bars. That's all good. Alright, and then so CanTrade is true, so we've set that, and then we're going to go on here. We've got another if. So I'm going to say if variables CanTrade is true. So if CanTrade is true, then if count is greater or equal to 0, if the orders count current symbol long or short in profit or loss equals 0. So we're saying if there's no open orders. I didn't put that in my rules, but that is one of the rules which I've got in here. So essentially what we're saying if the count is now greater than 0, again with this loop that we've created here for the look back, without explaining it too much, we want this figure now to be up to 10. So we're setting the count to 10, and then if we've got to here and if the count is greater than equal to 0, which it more than likely should be, then what we're going to do is we're going to say if the current symbol long or short orders in profit or loss equals 0. Alright, and then we're going to say if we are, remember the next rule was if we're above the Ichimoku cloud. So if we are, then we need to go in indicators, Ichimoku above and below, grab that one, create. So if we are above, let's just collapse that. So that's pretty cool, that's done it quickly for us. So now we're saying, so if we've got no long orders open, and also, so we've checked if that look back has occurred, so we've checked if that crossover has happened, and that's got to occur within this figure here, essentially, which is the last 10 bars. So we're saying if we've got that occurring within the last 10 bars, and then set can trade to true. If can trade is true, and that crossover has occurred in the last 10 bars, then we go in here, and then we say, are there no open orders? That's fine. So we're only limiting one order for this particular example, and then we need to be above the Ichimoku cloud, which is the next rule, remember. And then pretty easily we're going to say buy. We can leave that at 0.0. I think I set it to 0.02 for some reason, because I think I limited it to 5 trades, but no stress. So points, and then remember I'm just going to optimize the take profit and stop loss on this example to find out if the idea has any sort of validity. If it doesn't, then I'm wasting my time. But if it has got validity, then it'll make money, and then I can put some more time and effort into it, which in this particular scenario I have. Let's make sure the stop loss is like that. Let's put this in here. Again, we're just going to optimize this, and you guys can do optimization too. You should know how to do that by now. Take profit. Set that in here. Let's set that to 50. Okay, that's pretty much it. And now what we need to do, because of this loop that we've created and the true or false, we now need to say that this is all. Now we need to set can trade to false. So we know how to do that by now. And again, I'm not going through all these can trade true or false variables, because if you're unsure about it all, I know how it works. But if you're unsure about it all, go and watch Eddie's Trading Talk episode 15. And that explains the ins and outs of it. But essentially, this is the full model that we've been able to build by now. Well, it's at least the entry, which we've defined. So we've come up with the idea, and now what we're going to be able to do is build it. So that's now been done. So we've got the entrance. We've checking if that condition has occurred within the last X amount of bars. And then we're saying we also then have to be above the Ichimoku cloud. If we are above the Ichimoku cloud, then we can go ahead and buy. Remember, we're just manually we're optimizing the take profit and stop loss to see if this idea has any validity. Make sure we've got stop loss on points here and on points, otherwise you might find a few issues. Alright, we'll clean up that. I've already downloaded this, so what I'm going to be able to do now is go into MT4. I want to be able to show you how it actually looks like when we test it. Alright, so I'll just get in MT4 now. We've got Ichimoku trend, it's the exact same. So Ichi trend. And I'm just going to set it on visual mode. I'm on the pound here on the H1, so this is what I've tested it on. I'm just using the data which I've got available to myself, and now I want to show you how it actually takes trades. Oh, straight away we've got one. Perfect. Alright, cool. So let's see if this has been set up correctly. So we've got the Tenkan-sen here, and we've got the Keijin-sen. Yep, blue one. Red one is Tenkan-sen, blue one is Keijin-sen. And if you remember, our rule was, if we get the crossover, but that, can you see here how that has occurred below the cloud? I don't want to enter if we're below the cloud, because if we go back to the intermediate workshop, the idea was, and the general rule of thumb, if you're above the cloud, then you're in a trend. And remember, I'm trying to look for the entrance to an uptrend here. So if we're still below the cloud, then that's why I didn't want to take that trade. Hope that makes sense. But because that condition has occurred within the last 10 bars, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and when we got that close above the cloud on the bar, then it's taken the trade. Right? It's not been a winner in this time. Again, I've optimized all the settings, so I've just got a fixed point, take profit and stop loss. You guys can always go ahead and have a play around with that, essentially. Alright, let's just play it through. Let's try and get a few more. Alright, we've got another one. So this one was when we were already above the cloud. So we got the red Tenkan-sen, sorry, again, crossing above the Keijin-sen. So we got that crossover, and then on the next bar, because we were already above the cloud, it's taking the trade. So that was one where we were already above the cloud. Now we've gone back below the cloud. Again, you could do the exact opposite for the short side, by the way, guys. So don't think you can't do that. So you could get because in the intermediate workshop content, again, page 28, it says if the Tenkinson crosses below the Kedginson from above, then that could be a sell signal. So you can reverse this exact system and put it on the upside, on the sell side. Sorry. Let's just go through and see if we get another buy signal. So again, we've got the crossover there. So can we just see that? So we had the crossover, let's say here. So we were below, and then we went above, right? But we didn't take any trades within that next 10 bars because we weren't above the cloud. However, we had that occur again, and then when we did close above, then we got the buy signal. All right? I think you'll understand that now. I'm going to skip it to the end. And then what you can do is just make sure it's worked, see if you've had any nice trades. This one was a beautiful one, so I'm just going to show you that one. Let's zoom in. So we got the crossover which occurred around about here in the cloud, remember? And then we waited 10 bars, and then we got to close above the cloud. All of a sudden, boom, we're in a huge uptrend, and we probably could have held on to it a bit longer. Alright, so there's the signal working to a T, to perfection. Alright, so now we know that idea in the entrance works. That's version 1. Done, dusted. So now what we're able to do is upload them results into EA Analyzer that I've just been able to get from that test. And this is what we're able to get. Purely on optimization, this is just over a year or two. We've got a trade view score of 100, got a small drawdown, and we've made money. Again, this was version 1. This is just optimizing take profit. This is without the sell side, so there's so much more that we can add on to this system. It's not even funny. But we can see that this has potential to make money. That's what I was looking for. Alright? We can see here we've made in over 3 years. You can check out the number of wins. You can have a look at the risk to reward ratio. So we're pretty much 2 to 1 on the risk to reward. Win to loss, we could probably improve upon that. We're taking 38% winning trades, but 61% losers. So again, maybe that's to do with the exit, or maybe it's something we can work on with the entrance. But this is what we can find out inside EA Analyzer, you see. Okay, so that's pretty much all I wanted to discuss for today. I'm just gonna get us back to the PowerPoint presentation, because we've been able to build that. So there's the screenshot again for you, so you can build that exact entrance. And then what you can go ahead and do now, guys, is go ahead and do some testing. Have a think about how you could improve it. Maybe build the sell side. Ask support for help if you need the support and you need the help. That's what we're here for. And yeah, do we allow more trades to be open? We're only looking for one trade. Can we perhaps build into position? If we get the signal occurring again, do we add another trade? Do we build into position? Do we increase the lot size? There's many different things that we're able to do. And then that's not even going on to the exit and the trade management. What kind of trade management could we put into a trend trading system? These are all the things that I want you to think about, and there's so much content inside the intermediate course videos, which everyone has access to, that shows you different ways to manage your trades and different ways to exits. And if you do get stuck, I'm always free by email, which is this one here. You can message me on there, send me an email, shoot me a message on Skype. I'm always open to having a quick chat with people. As I said, I've built this model now, and I've built it into a full system. Really happy with how it's going and how it looks. But what I want to, and I'm happy to share a few ideas, but what I really want is for you guys to start thinking of different ways that you can adapt to the model and maybe add your own flavor. Okay, so I just want to be able to say thanks all for watching. What I want to also be able to go into now is just quickly touch on the Algo Trading Conference, because we're coming up less than 3 months' time. So this is December the 15th at the Sofitel. If anyone hasn't been on this site recently, we've actually been able to upload a video that Kevin Davey, who's the 3-time world trading champion, has done for us. So he's outside his lake there where he lives near. So this is a lake. It's a pretty big one. I believe it's Lake Michigan. He's from Ohio, is Kevin. So he's done a little 1-minute video for us explaining why he's really looking forward to attending and joining our Algo Trading Conference. And it looks quite likely now, and this is something for anyone who's watched and stayed to the end, that Kevin's actually going to be sharing 3 models, up to 3 models in his presentation, which is extremely exciting because we didn't actually know that. And now he's built 3 systems inside EA Lab, and now he's going to be explaining them and how he looks at testing. So he has a very cool way of being able to do his testing. So yeah, flick on algotradingconference.com, watch that video, it's quite insightful. And yeah, we're able to look after everyone from there. And anyone that's not already booked themselves in, please get in contact with myself or any of the team here, and we can arrange a ticket for yourself, because we don't have too many left now. We're coming up to the closing point for ticket sales. Won't be too long before we have the final seats available, so people don't want to be missing out on an event like this. And in particular relevance to this episode, I thought I'd just add in there on a final note. The conference is great because you do get 3 world-class systems. That's the tangible value provided at the end of the conference. But it's also understanding how these guys have come up with their ideas. I've showed you how I've come up with mine purely off the intermediate workshop. Kevin's going to show you how he came up with his. Dr. Tom, who's a hedge fund quant, will show you how he came up with his. And then my mentor from the desk here, Ellie, will show you how he's came up with a model that he trades live for TradeView. So I think the whole understanding of how world-class traders use a process of building, of testing, of analysis, that whole scope of a system being built is invaluable in itself. As well as world-class models, the actual processes and understanding how they've come up with the ideas is second to none. And that's what I'm most excited for with the Algo Trading Conference. And I want to wrap up with the International Trading Competition. I'll just flick open the website. Most people will be familiar with this now. So we are into the final sprint, and this does wrap up at the end of November. So there's 2 months to go with this. We've got Marcus, who's a familiar name. He's back on the top of the sprint competition. Mark's been up there in the top 3 of the marathon since day dot, so he's incredibly consistent with his results and his returns. But yeah, look, the leaderboard is wide open, guys. I think there's been a few people who have done great and then have dropped down a little bit, back up a little bit, but the leaderboard is wide open. So anyone that's not already in, get yourself in, because you can actually have the opportunity to win a ticket, flights and accommodation to the Algo Trading Conference, which will be quite good. And you can see here the results are certainly attainable for people who have yet to join. Okay, I'll just go back to my presentation, and I'll say once again, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you found this presentation useful. Anyone that does have any questions regarding the build, the system, the idea, improvements that you could make, please feel free to give me a message. I'll just put my contact details back up. I'm sure everyone already has them. I look forward to speaking to you all very soon. Bye for now.